What's up everyone, China Cycling here. You may remember a few months ago at the Shanghai bike show I bumped into a company called Winspace. At the time they offered to invite me down to their factory in Xiamen. Well, last month our schedules both opened up, so I hopped on the plane, headed down to Xiamen to see what those guys get up to. What's up everyone, Joe from China Cycling here. Today I'm here at Winspace, one of the top manufacturers of racing bikes here in China. You can see next to me I've got two of the bikes, their T1500 Aero bike and their SLC, their super light climbing bike. Today we're going to have a look at how they make these bikes, from concept all the way through to production. Let's go take a look. So first we need to see where every bike starts its life, and every bike starts with the design process. So I'm here today with Roman, the product manager here at Winspace, and he's going to talk us through roughly how they design their bikes. Nice to meet you, Roman.
Nice to meet you.
Good. Roman kindly explained the entire design process to me, but I was way too curious, asking way too many questions, and this conversation went on for way too long. So I'll kind of summarize it for you guys. Basically, he explained that first they start with an idea and some basic goals. For example, they want to make a TT bike. Well, they want it to be disc brakes and fully integrated cables. And then they'll work with their designers to come up with some concepts. So they have an Italian design house and they have more of an engineering design guy in Canada. And they'll work together with them to get some early concepts. And from those concepts, they'll choose one idea, develop it and refine it to make a solid 2D design. And then once they're happy with this 2D design, they'll go away and turn it into a 3D model. And there's lots of back and forth and refining of the 3D model, but the 3D model is super detailed. Even in down to the individual ball bearings in the headset bearings are modeled. Absolute crazy detail. And from this, when they're happy with the 3D model, they'll use it to 3D print a one-to-one version of the frame. And that's good for them to get an idea for the design and a feeling for the design, but also it lets them do things like install the wheels and check for tire clearances and stuff like this. And then when they're absolutely satisfied and happy with everything, they can commission a factory to make their molds, and then they can use these molds to start building the frames. After the mold is done, we can go into the factory and build it using carbon fiber, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can go to the factory now and have a look at that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So in the factory, I was joined by Steven, the founder of Winspace. He explained the first stage of production is cutting up the carbon sheets. So the average frame has about 300 different pieces of carbon fiber in it. And so the first stage is choosing the sheets of carbon, putting them in the right alignment and cutting them down to the right size. And so one frame, maybe some parts are this carbon fiber, some parts are that carbon fiber, the different types of carbon fiber in one frame?
Yes, of course, because carbon fiber we have angle, modulus, so according to the engineering, we choose the best way to achieve the best stiffness.
Okay. Yeah. Once they've cut the different types of carbon into all the different shapes, it's on to the next stage of production, where a worker takes all of these pieces and starts to piece them all together to make up the shape of the frame.
So you can see the workers,
yes.
They just lay up the frame piece by piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how do they know which piece goes where?
Because we have SOP.
Okay.
We have based on our engineering.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's like a giant 3D jigsaw?
Yeah.
Okay, and so one frame, like how many pieces are they using to put it together?
Because different models have different pieces.
Yep.
Usually it's from about 300 pieces to 500 pieces.
Okay. And how long does it take them to build one frame?
Normally about 2 hours to
okay.
finish one frame.
And so one person does one piece of the frame, or she'll do the whole frame herself?
Usually one person will do all the whole frame.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when they're putting the pieces together,
yes.
How do they keep the shape of the carbon fiber layers?
For inner, usually we have two ways. Traditional ways we use a airbag.
Okay.
But for more advanced technology, we call it EPS.
EPS.
We use inside the mold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the carbon pieces go around this mold.
Yes, so EPS, when we use EPS molds, the inner wall of the frames will be really smooth.
Okay. But when you use the airbag, you get the little wrinkles, you get the lines on the inside maybe?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
So just a higher quality finish with EPS.
Yeah, usually high-end model we use EPS.
Okay, good. So once the layup is complete, you're left with something that looks kind of like a bike frame, but it's totally unrideable because the carbon fiber is still all floppy. The next step is we've got to find a mold, put the layup into a mold and shove it in an oven. But first, you gotta try find the right mold. The factory has a huge warehouse full of molds, and each mold costs thousands of dollars to make, so I can't even imagine how much worth of stuff they have here. Okay, so what are all these things?
This is the frame mold.
The frame mold?
Yes.
Okay, that's a lot of molds.
Yeah, a lot of molds. Because one frame we need a front triangle mold, chain stay mold,
okay,
and also a six-stay mold, and also fork mold.
Okay, and so every different size of frame needs its own mold?
Usually, maybe we can have some parts we can share.
Okay.
But, basically, we need to have different sizes of mold.
Okay. And so when people talk about Chinese frames, you'll hear people talk about an open mold. What's an open mold?
Open mold means usually carbon manufacturer. They create one mold and sell to lots of customers.
Okay.
Usually engineering is done by manufacturer.
Okay.
Yes.
But maybe the manufacturers, they don't know a lot about designing bikes.
Yeah.
They just know a lot about carbon fiber.
Usually manufacturer is a specialist in carbon manufacturing, but usually maybe they know not so much about a bicycle.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what about Winspace? Are Winspace using open molds or?
Winspace was designed from Canada and Italy.
Okay.
So our engineering is done in Italy and Canada.
Okay.
Yes.
One thing I couldn't believe is just how labor intensive the whole process was, especially getting the layup into the mold and out of the mold. It took so much time, and these molds are heavy things, so you need two burly guys doing all the work. It was pretty crazy how labor intensive it is. So we saw them putting the layup together in the other room.
Yes.
And so they bring that into this room and put it into a mold and then put the mold into the kiln?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And so how long does it have to stay in the oven?
Usually about 15 minutes to 1 hour.
Okay, 15 minutes to 1 hour.
Yes.
And so we saw the EPS and we saw the airbags.
Yes.
So when it's inside, it gets pressurized with air to take out all the air bubbles, right?
In the oven,
Yep.
the air pressure will go inside the frame.
Okay.
Yes.
After about an hour, it all comes out of the oven, and you gotta try get the frame out of the mold. Again, a huge labor-intensive process. Once it comes out, it looks super rough around the edges, so it needs some time to be cleared up. Then onto the next stage of production, the bonding. So you've now got different parts of the frame complete, and you need to bond them all together. For this, they use a special kind of resin, a special kind of glue, and they put the whole frame onto a jig to ensure that all of the angles and all the tolerances and distances are all right, and the frame is straight and true. Okay, and so they just put it on the jig and then glue it and just leave it there for a day, or?
No. We just we'll put the frame into the oven.
Okay, in the oven for how long?
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay.
Yes.
After an hour, the whole thing comes out of the oven and it's time to get the frame off the jig. At this point, the frame is pretty structurally sound, but looking a bit rough around the edges. The next stage of production is also super labor intensive. It's the sanding. So all frames are sanded by hand, and it's said that each frame gets about 90 minutes of sanding time. That's a crazy amount of labor for every single frame. But I think you'll agree the before and after of this stage is the most shocking. It's crazy what a difference it makes. After sanding, another labor-intensive part of the process was the painting. To get to the paint area, you have to go through a special clean room where you get blasted with air to get all particles off you. You have to change your shoes, change your clothes, everything. So they take cleanliness of the paint area very, very seriously. After basic priming and painting, it's time for the decals and the logos. These are done by water transfer, and all the workers have to be very careful to make sure that all the decals are perfectly straight and the right distance away from different parts of the bike, etc. After the decals have all been applied, the frame can receive its final clear coat, and it's almost done. The final stage is quality control and inspection. So every single frame gets put onto this rig to be tested for like 30 cycles. And one frame in every batch gets put on this jig and tested for a much longer time. I can't remember, like 10,000 cycles or something crazy. They also have a bunch of machines that can test the frames in a whole bunch of different ways and torture them. That's only usually one frame per batch, but I was really surprised that every single frame goes on that jig at least once. It took a huge amount of time just putting the frame on and off the jig. Again, totally surprising how labor intensive the whole process is. But again, this is just Winspace's way of producing frames. Your other super cheap, super budget carbon frames may not get this treatment. So again, it's worth going for a brand name. I want to say a huge thank you to Winspace, especially to Stephen and Roman for their time. Thank you to all the workers in the factory for having patience to put things on and off of rigs so I can get some video footage. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took a lot of work to get this done, and I've been trying to get it done for a long time. If you do like it, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel to see more like it. China Cycling, out.